Hi, and welcome to Road to Revenue. I'm your host, Lee, and joining me today we have Ryan Camp of Camp Films, creator, filmmaker. Welcome, Ryan.
Thank you so much, Lee. Thank you for having me. I'm glad we were able to connect and get this done.
Tell me where you started. Give us a little bit of sense of your origin story.
I've actually had quite a strange road to YouTube and filmmaking and all that. I was in a hard rock band all throughout high school, into college, and that was my 100% focus. Like a lot of bands, we were broke, and we got to the point where we wanted to make music videos. The cost was just way too much. So I borrowed my grandmother's Sony Handycam, little, and I just shot some music videos myself. We actually auditioned for an MTV show called Battle for Ozfest with Ozzy Osbourne.
Oh, wow. That's
And
awesome. So that's absolutely brilliant.
I love Ozzy, and very, very nice man. We eventually made it onto the show, toured the United States with Ozzy. You know, I got to eat dinner with him and all that stuff. People don't believe me when I tell this story.
That's amazing.
Because it's so crazy. Over the years, I had made a DVD of all the music videos and stuff that we had put together as a band. And the MTV producers actually took notice of that and were like, you have a career in this. Them saying that to me got my wheels turning, it was something I was good at. Started a video production business doing weddings and local, real estate videos, just the usual stuff that you start out with in video production. One day I just was driving by this old farmhouse and the weather was really moody, and I stopped and got some shots of it. And I was like, this looks so great. I'm just going to upload it to YouTube so people can see it. I did that, and it just took off. Like, people were like, this is gorgeous. You need to turn this into a story. So I was like, maybe I could do that. So I went back and got some more shots the next day. The weather was very similar, so that helped. And I turned it into a little short film. And it just took off. And I was like, well, maybe this is something that I could pursue. So from that day forward, I just started telling people how I made the film, and started getting into mobile videography and learning about Filmic Pro, and just started uploading videos that way. And here we are, like almost 7 years later, just trying to help people create their first films.
So it is actually a little bit of a common theme, I think, that I've picked up from a number of our guests, is that almost that you become this accidental creator.
Yeah, and very much accidental, yeah.
Like it's almost like it's everyone else's plan except yours, and then you have to hear it and just play along.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. I like helping people, and I like teaching. I think that's what I find interest in. And when people write me and they're like, man, you really helped me create my first film, that's like the best compliment I can hear. I've had teachers write me from filmmaking schools saying that they use my videos in their classroom, and that just blows my mind. I'm just winging it, I feel like I'm just winging it. I'm learning as I go. When there's a topic that I want to teach people about, I study it, research it, and then I just teach people what I've learned. And, that's just a huge compliment to hear that teachers are using my work.
How do you decide what you're going to explore next?
If it was just up to me, I would just make short films and then tell people about how I made them. That's what I really like to do the most, but that doesn't normally get the most amount of traction. Like a couple of weeks ago, I was making costumes for a short film I'm working on. So I made a video on how to weather fabric, and no one watched it. But it's something that I was passionate about making because I think it's interesting, So it's kind of a balancing act. It's kind of like you hear actors talk about how you do the risky role, and then you got to do the commercial role, the risky role and the commercial role, like back to back. Sometimes I have to either figure out what's something that's popular at the moment. Like right now, Blackmagic camera app is just blowing up. So I've been focusing on that and learning how to use that app and showing people how to use that app. And that's really taken off. So it has to be kind of topical. You got to do things that you're interested in doing that are fun. Otherwise, you're going to get burnt out and not want to do it anymore. And if I was just making tutorial videos, which are so dry to me and not really fun, other than the fact that I'm helping people, that's the main thing for me. If I was just doing that, I think I would get burned out pretty quickly.
But when you migrated across into becoming a creator, how did that revenue shift, and how did that change at the kind of first point?
I wasn't really thinking about it as a business at that point when I first started. So I was still doing the wedding videography, which is very stressful, by the way, but it was creating revenue for me to buy equipment, So it didn't make a lot of money at first, but it helped me get everything I needed to start being a content
Mm.
creator. And I was kind of in the back of my mind planning that all along, I guess. It took me a while to start getting YouTube ad revenue, and it's still not, my main source of income. Selling products is what really is, and that didn't happen until later on. I would say probably about 3 years ago is when I first started doing that. So it was kind of a slow transition from just kind of weaning myself off of the local client work, which I still do occasionally. But now I just try to focus on selling products and YouTube ad revenue and consultation work. So it's kind of all blossomed into that.
Obviously, there's some mechanical pieces that happen with YouTube revenue, right? But in terms of the other products, what opened your eyes to it?
Actually, I was watching a Peter McKinnon video, and he had mentioned that he had a LUT pack. And I was like, I'll go check this out. And I went over there and checked it out, and it was like $5, and it was like 5 LUTs, I think $1 a LUT. I was like, this would be an easy way to make a few bucks. I created my own little LUT pack, and that was the first thing I did, I believe. It just kind of spiraled from there and creating more products. And I think what was most important was figuring out a way to help your audience do something that other people aren't doing. Like, for instance, my most successful products are pitch deck templates. I was watching YouTube videos on pitching your films or your ideas, and no one had really created anything to help others create pitch decks. So I decided, I was like, I'm going to create something that's going to help people, get that done faster.
Actually, giving something away that's wholly yours that takes a little bit of courage.
And it's kind of like, I guess, a magician showing how he does his magic tricks. Yes, it's a good way of putting it. Over the years, I've created like a scatter shot, trying to figure out what sticks and what doesn't, and just created tons of different products for tons of different price points. And I found that I need to whittle that down and to like a few focused products and keep refining them, offering free updates. That way people can't deny the value that you're offering them.
How many revenue streams did you have at your kind of peak of the highest number of revenue streams, and how many products kind of sat within that?
Well, of course, the paid client work, doing commercial videography, stuff like that. The first thing I dove into actually was affiliate marketing through Amazon. And at first it worked pretty well. Especially if you have a focus, like if you make a video for a focused product, like a gimbal, for instance, you make a video just about that, and you're like, check it out below at Amazon. That worked pretty great. And then it seems that Amazon kind of neutered their revenue that they were giving to creators. So that's kind of just become like, I might make a few cents a month or something like that. So I don't really focus on that much anymore, recommending products unless it's a paid dedicated video for a company. So I have the affiliate marketing, and the best affiliate marketing for me is like with companies like Academic Sound, referral links. That's been pretty lucrative for me. And then I have, of course, YouTube ads, which it can be lucrative, but man, you really have to grind. Like for the past couple of weeks, I haven't posted a video, and you can just see that revenue just. I see why a lot of YouTubers quit, because it's like there's always just this thing chasing you, like post a video or we're going to take it all away from you, And then of course, digital products. That's been the biggest one for me, is figuring out a product that helps people and selling it.
Right.
Paid consultations for people who want to call and talk to me for, an hour, and either go over a script with them or teach them how to use an app or just give them general filmmaking advice. The last piece of the puzzle, which I actually haven't started yet, which is planned for this year, is paid online courses, which is something I've been holding off on because I really want to make sure it's something special.
It's interesting to hear you talk about how, like, the weight of each of them and how that's varied and what you rely on.
And it will probably change again before it's over.
I think probably by the end of this conversation it will have changed. So
absolutely.
How do you manage that?
That's the scary part, is because this stuff is so fluctuating. And like Amazon started off lucrative and now it's not. Companies can go out of business, like heaven forbid, Epidemic Sound, who I'm working with. I make good money with them. If they were just stop offering affiliate marketing, anything like that can happen. So I think that's why it's good to focus on a few products that are wholly you, that you're real proud of, and just keep refining them and adding to them, adding value to your customers. My pitch deck template pack that I mentioned earlier, I've already updated it a few times, just adding content to it. making it more of a value proposition and notifying the people that already purchased it, hey, there's more stuff here if you want to come download it for free. And I think that's a good way to grow with your customers and keep them loyal to you. And then when you create another product, they'll have more confidence in buying it from you because they know that you're going to support them and support that product as it, grows.
How do you listen to your audience? How do you figure out what it is that they want or what they're interested in?
Honestly, I think that insight came from videos. If I make a video about a topic and I saw that people were really interested in it, and then I see the comments like, how did you make this? What program did you use to make it? Stuff like that. I think that's kind of what leads me in certain directions, especially with Filmic Pro. Like back in the early days when I was making videos for Filmic Pro and I created my own LUTs, before I was even selling them, I was creating looks for the footage. People were like, how did you get that look? So that kind of, sparks an idea. It's like, well, people are interested in how I did this. I should let them have it.
But is there a time when you followed what you thought your audience was asking for and actually they weren't asking for it, or maybe it wasn't as lucrative as you might have thought?
I think one instance I had of that was with aspect ratio mats. A lot of people were asking me how I got the black bars on the YouTube video, and it was just an overlay. And I created a pack of those, and I had so many people asking about it, but when I created it, not many people were buying it. So I figured from the video, they were just like, wait a minute, he's just placing blank bars over the video. So that's one instance that didn't work out. A lot of things I do end up making free. Like if something doesn't work out like that the way I thought, like there isn't a demand for people to buy it, I'll just create it and make it free for them. And then you really will see people will grab it anyway. Even if they don't want it, they'll grab it. But that keeps people engaged with your platform and coming back to your store. So I think that can be beneficial as well.
And do you find that your audience is very, are they transient, or have they been with you a long time?
I've got a few channel members that have stuck with me through thick and thin, but those have fluctuated quite a bit. And according to my analytics, most of my audience is new. I don't have much returning audience, so that's pretty interesting. I don't know how to remedy that. I think it may be just like with the revenue streams, my content may have changed over the years. I focus on different things and those people realize they're not interested in what I'm making anymore. Or someone subbed for iPhone filmmaking videos and then I don't make those for a while. So I think there is a balancing act you have to do with your content. And honestly, that's something I haven't mastered. I mean,
and equally, the weathered fabric video.
Yeah,
we could have that conversation 12 months from now. It may be a very different conversation because it does feel like one of those videos that actually could gain traction at any point.
Evergreen content.
Yeah. What would you say the balance is of that evergreen type of content?
Honestly, some days I'll just wake up and I'll just be interested in one specific thing, and I don't really know if I plan it out as well as I should. But like today I woke up and I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to make a video on how to create fog in your video. Like I'm interested in learning how to do that.
That doing it live in the moment must bring a certain energy to your videos.
Well, I know it certainly brings energy to me personally. If I found that when I plan out a video like weeks in advance, like for instance, I made a video on film set lingo. And the video turned out to be a list. I mean, it was literally just like me reading a list of stuff. And what fun is that for anyone to make?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it feels like schoolwork. But that being said, it helps people.
Yeah.
And people loved it because it was just a list of things they could watch. And I made it just entertaining enough to where they stayed watching it. You definitely, as a creator, you have to find that balance of helping your audience, and making it fun for yourself, because otherwise, what are you doing here? If you're not doing something you're passionate about, you're not going to do it long.
So 7 years in is a good length of time. it's also a good length of time for you to have received possibly some bad advice or maybe come across some myths.
People may think this is crazy that I say this, but I think the worst advice I've ever heard is to niche down. Like, for instance, and that may be a great idea if you want to grow on YouTube. But for me, being interested in doing this, if I were to niche down and just, like, I know that black magic video I made is one of the most popular videos I've made in a while. But if I just made videos on black magic camera app every single week, I would hate the black magic camera app by the time I was done. I have to mix it up and keep it interesting. And I think if you niche down to like a pinpoint like that, I think that is bad advice, and you are going to get burned out, and you're not going to want to do this anymore.
The flip side to that, what's one piece of early advice that you got that actually really made a difference?
I don't know if this was advice I received, but just watching other YouTubers and looking at other channels, I think it's very important. One of the most important things is creating a brand and a personality around yourself, whether that's colors that you're using, music, sounds. I try to use the same kind of like 80s synth music in a lot of my videos. When you send them to your online store, make sure that's cohesive and matches the channel, your website, your link tree, whatever it is. I really think you have to create a vibe and a consistent look and feeling to all of your content. When I watch like a Peter McKinnon video, I know exactly what it's going to look like. When I watch an Andy Axe video, I know exactly what it's going to look like and how it's going to feel and make me feel. Is it going to make me feel cozy? Is it going to make me feel, excited? Like Peter McKinnon, he's really hype. And honestly, be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't want to like share something that's not you, but when people tune into you, they need to know exactly what they're going to be getting when they see it.
So how long did it take you to figure out what that looked like?
I would say I'm still figuring it out. Like just this year, I went back and redid every single thumbnail on my channel. I guess a lot of creatives are like this, but I'm never satisfied with anything that I do. I never think it's good enough. I'm constantly tinkering with things. So this year I went through and redid almost every thumbnail on my channel to give them a different cohesive look.
And they do, because they've got the yellow like around.
Yeah, I've still got more to do.
Yeah.
So there are some things that you have to conform to if you want to catch people's attention, and I think that's one thing I've been working on. But you can go back and watch my earliest video, and I've definitely learned a lot about presentation and audio. Audio is such an important thing, and creating backgrounds.
How do you keep track of it all?
I've actually got a checklist on my wall that has all of my camera settings. I use Adobe Premiere to edit my videos. So I have presets for all of my audio, whether it's talking head or voiceover. I've got all that stuff pre-programmed in there, and templates for all of my videos. So when I have a voiceover video where I'm not going to be seen, I have a template for that. I have a talking head video, I've got a template for that. And that really helps me stay focused, stay more consistent. I've got tape on the floor here where my light's supposed to go and my camera. That way, when I set it up, it's as close as possible each time. I wish I had a space where I could just leave everything alone and just hit a button when I come in, but I don't have that luxury, which is, something we talked about before the show, starting off in the corner bedroom. I just recently got my own little studio space or office space, if you want to call it that.
So how was that moving from like, so you're in the master bedroom, having to kind of set that up as a studio every time you used it. What was it like transitioning into actually having a bespoke space?
That was one of the hardest challenges. You could go back and watch a lot of my early videos, and you can tell that I'm standing in a corner. So I had roll-out Rubbermaid tubs under the bed. So I would pull them out, set everything up. It would look different every time. Anytime you have friction for getting something done, it's going to make you not want to do it. So I would say back in the day, it was a real struggle for me to get up the energy to go through all of that every time to record a video. So back in the day, like if I recorded a video, I really wanted to make a video. I was excited about it. because it took so much work every time to get everything set back up. But now I can, at least leave my light stand set up and the camera set up and just put them in the corner out of the way. So it's a huge improvement. I think it's really important to have your own dedicated space. It helps you work better, helps you stay focused, and then, make it have a mood that you want to work in also, whether that's lighting, pictures, and like I've got some pictures back here of old films I've made, help keep me motivated, stuff like that. So it's been a huge relief to finally have the space.
So it must have affected the time that you spend, certainly on the setup. But does that have a knock-on impact in terms of how much time and effort you can put into actually producing content?
Absolutely. Ever since I've gotten this space, I treat it like a job, like a workspace. So in the mornings, I'll come in here, I'll get my coffee, come in here and sit in front of my computer, and on, one day of the week, I'll write, plan, and then another day of the week, I'll shoot, and then another day of the week, I'll edit. So I spend, a typical work day. When I didn't have this space, it was just kind of whenever I could get a chance to come in there and mess with it. I had a laptop. I didn't have, a dedicated office space or anything. So I would sit on the couch a lot of times and, write stuff. So it's made it a lot more of a focused experience. And I would say that it definitely helps my productivity. I've been able to get a lot more done, and it doesn't seem as daunting to me anymore.
Is that having an impact on your revenue?
Absolutely. I mean, ever since we moved into the space last June or July, I believe, and ever since then, my YouTube ad revenue is climbing because I think I'm making more focused, better content faster. And like I think I mentioned earlier, as long as you're posting every week and you're posting content that your audience wants to see, you're going to see that that uptick. I think.
What's the next piece that you're looking forward to changing or adding to what you do currently?
Well, actually, I just started that. I mentioned I want to do the paid online courses, so that's my next goal.
Brilliant.
And that's kind of the reason I haven't posted in a few weeks, because I've been focusing so much on that. And I'm not really great at doing the batch content thing that you hear a lot of creators talk about. Recording like 3 videos in a day and then spanning them out. I've done it a few times in my career, and it is great to just be able to hit schedule and sit back and watch it happen. But I'm more of a spur of the moment kind of creator. So I've been focusing on creating those paid online courses. And if I'm focusing on that, it's really hard for me to focus on creating content for the channel. But just this year, I started email lists and automation.
Right.
I can't stress enough how important that's been to my online business. And I would recommend to everybody that's interested in making money with their YouTube channel or anything, even if they don't have a YouTube channel, if you have a way of pointing people to a website, no matter what that is, whether it's just a podcast or YouTube channel, whatever, create a free product or a product that's only $1, whatever you want to do, and have them something that they want, have them go to a landing page and sign up for that email list. And now I'm creating automation within my website. So once they click sign up, they get that free product. They've already gotten something from me. And then I have automated emails that go out over the course of the next couple of months, not spamming their inbox, giving them time to breathe, and then sending them a follow-up email and showing them more ways that I think I can help them, whether that's consultations or my ebooks. It wasn't fun to do. It wasn't fun to set up. It was a lot of work. And then even after you get it done, you're like, is this working properly? Are people getting this properly? Is the link working? But I would say that it's doubled traffic to my online store.
Brilliant. And has it changed the types of product? Has it had an impact on the types of product that you're selling?
Absolutely. When I created this email automation, I wanted to have a product to launch it with, right? So I created my first ebook, how to create your first, film, 8 steps, indie filmmaking guide, whatever. And then I have a more in-depth ebook
I felt very privileged having these conversations to hear people's kind of evolution of their businesses. One thing I am curious to know is there, and this is certainly for anyone who does photography or videography. What's your favorite piece of kit, of equipment that you use?
I would have to say my Rode shotgun mic. Once I made the purchase of that, it made everything sound so much better. And I just think sound, coming from a music background, sound is like super important to me, and I think it's like more important than video usually. Um, I always spend a lot of time tinkering with the audio in my videos, or I always tell my wife, if this YouTube thing doesn't work out, I'm going to try to get a job as a sound engineer, like, messing with just the sound effects and stuff, because I love that stuff so much. I could sit for hours and just place little sound effects on the timeline everywhere and just, dial it all in. So yeah, definitely the audio equipment. I'm in love with audio equipment, and I've got one of those, was it a Zoom
Yep.
recorder that I can put here in front of the camera, and man, that thing has just been chef's kiss. I love that thing.
That it's interesting hearing you saying about adding in all those sound effects, because you're a big, is it Halloween or is it horror fan?
Oh yeah, horror, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, both. I've already started planning for Halloween. Like, I think what that comes from is, as a child, sitcoms growing up, Roseanne, or any of those TV shows, Home Improvement, all that stuff. But it was just the greatest time of year when you get to see those Halloween specials come on TV, or the Charlie Brown or whatever. So I think it kind of comes from that. I kind of want to have my channel to have like a Halloween festivity feeling that time of year. So I always plan really far in advance to create a short film for that time of year. And I always like to premiere it on Halloween night if I can, give myself that hard deadline. And then, of course, everything that goes along with that, whether, it's just a video on how it was made, or, something new I learned, like I'm talking about with the fog machine thing.
Is that the only season piece that has an impact on the material that you create?
I usually try to do something around Christmas time, sometimes, not all the time, whether that's like a gift ideas for filmmakers, stuff like that. On the new year, I like to try to do like a new look at the filmmaking scape every year. Like this year, I tried 2024 filmmaking trends video. Just kind of take stock of everything this could be happening in the new year in regards to film production, or content creation.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but it almost feels like your creative expression is also a reflection of your internal opportunity to reflect about your own kind of where you are at the moment.
Absolutely, yeah. Definitely always take into account, how I'm feeling at the moment, what I'm excited about. I'm always excited about horror films. That's why I plan those from the beginning of the year to the end. So, my wife, she's like, she came home last year. I made a new short film called The Hammer for Halloween. And my wife came home and she was like, the neighbors are going to call the police, because I'm outside in an FBI outfit, walking around our house at night with a flashlight.
Brilliant.
She's like, this is not a good idea. So sometimes it gets me in trouble. So.
And so that's you being authentic, but like, how do you make sure you stay authentic?
Finding something that you're passionate about and making sure that that's what you're trying to teach others about. I think you could go back and watch some of my old videos, and you could probably tell the ones that I'm not passionate about. It's going to come through. It's just like when you're talking to someone on the phone, and even if they can't see your face, they can tell if you're smiling.
Yeah.
They can tell what kind of mood you're in just by the presence you're putting on. The videos that I've been most excited about making have always done the best. Like something I'm super passionate about, because it comes through in the content. People can tell, oh, he's really excited about making this video. And I think those, 9 times out of 10, I think those perform the best, because people can feed off your excitement.
Yeah. That extra level of he really cares comes across.
And you're probably going to put more time into it also, whether that's sound effects or editing. You're going to put a little bit of extra sprinkle
Mm.
on there, you know?
So of all those different sprinkles, what's the so you said you enjoy the sound effect side of things. Is that the easiest, or what would you say is the kind of easiest part of that whole either production or post production part?
I would say the hardest part for me is setting up the camera and the lights and everything. Um, I don't know why. I don't know if it's just like we were talking about, a friction point, just having to do the work. I don't know if I would say the sound effects are easiest. They're easiest for me to do because I'm most excited about it. The way AI is taking off in video editing and stuff, it's making the editing process so much easier. Used to, I would say, doing a rough cut edit was the most tedious and irritating thing I would
Mm.
do as far as video creation. But now with text editing, I mean, I can have a rough cut done in just a few minutes.
So what AI tools are you using?
I use Photoshop a lot, with, whether that's in filmmaking or uh, YouTube thumbnail creation. But they have a lot of great new tools in there with the generative, I think it's called Firefly, where you can just create a box and type in whatever you want, and boom, there's your image. I use that a ton in photo editing, whether that's just like removing a phone pole or something. But a lot of times I'll use that in filmmaking as well, for VFX. Um, just recently, I created a video where it was a story about these people going hiking, and they saw some figures in the woods. So I used AI to create those figures in the woods of an actual shot, and he framed it in there, and that way it's not something that you're stealing from someone else. Hopefully, I would like to think not, but just little things like that. ChatGPT has been really helpful for me, just kind of planning my
Mm-hmm.
content. I try to just bullet point what I want to talk about, and then just kind of let my natural instinct take over about that topic. So a lot of times I'll feed a script into ChatGPT and I'll have it bullet pointed out for me, so it's more concise and easier for me to follow. And of course, I got to mention this Midjourney, as far as pre-production goes. One of my filmmaking partners, Courtney Jones, who's a great guy and a YouTuber as well. You should check him out. Me and him are working on a web series together, and we're both throwing ideas at each other about different episodes for the series. And I just use Midjourney to completely just show him, here's a picture of the protagonists, here's the setting, and it makes such beautiful images. I'm no artist, so it really helps me convey my ideas in a really cinematic way, because those images are so beautiful that it produces. It has a lot of beneficial uses for sure. There are also some awful things about AI. Don't want to steal anyone's work. You don't want to completely rely on it as a crutch. I think it's best used for sparking ideas or helping flesh out your ideas just a little bit better.
Have you come across any AI tools or uses that haven't worked for you?
Well, so far, the Adobe image generation has been pretty hit or miss for me. I've also used I think it's called Hyper, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's basically you feed it an image and then describe what you want the image to be doing, and it will animate the
All
image.
right.
I've had some pretty hit or miss. Uh, I actually just used that for the video I was talking about with the three people in the woods. I wanted them to walk closer to the camera. So I put that image in Hyper and tried to get them to walk closer to the camera, and they kind of just floated up into the sky or something. So I was like, no, that's not what I wanted. So yeah, that's probably the best example I can think of. A lot of times the art created with Adobe is just really ugly, and they've got like seven fingers. The people have seven fingers, and they're making really strange faces.
The common question is very much, is AI going to take jobs? What's your take on that?
There's always the little something that happens when you're either reading AI content or looking at AI content or listening to it, where you're like, that's AI. As far as creativity is concerned, I think people are always going to want to hear creative endeavors from actual people. Like there's a lot of AI music out there and stuff, and I think humans are always going to gravitate towards other humans for their entertainment. Hopefully, it's kind of
We
scary
should be we should be safe from the takeover for a while anyway.
for a while, yeah.
donning your experienced creator hat, what one piece of advice do you have for people who are either on their road to revenue or are maybe just starting out?
The most important advice is to find something you're passionate about and figure out a way to help people either get to your level or help them solve a problem. I think if you're wanting to make money being a creator, it's got to be something you're passionate about, because if not, like we said earlier, it's going to come through in the content and people aren't going to trust you.
Absolutely super advice. And one last question, where can people find you after this?
You can find me at Camp Films on YouTube or my website, ryancampfilms.com. And that should take you to everywhere else. I'm on X, Threads, at Ryan Camp Films everywhere on the socials. So you can find me that way.
Brilliant. Do you know what? You have been an incredible guest. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Ryan. Stay awesome.
All right. Thank you. You too, Lee. Thank you.